I did not think I'd ever be saying these words, but David Dobrik has decided to return to YouTube after taking a near 3-year break from posting. He stopped posting vlogs, he quit his joint podcast with Jason Nash, and after the first year went by, most people assumed he was done for good. Well, he's fully back now, and we have a lot to discuss. It's a mess, so let's get into it. Back in March of 2022, David Dobrik unknowingly posted what would be his last vlog for a very long time. This was right around the time Jeff broke his silence about what David did to him with the crane, exposing how David tried to blame the whole thing on him, which ultimately led to Jeff announcing that he'd be taking legal action against David. This was also right around the time that Neistat's documentary on David premiered at South by Southwest and didn't paint David in the best light. What started off as a documentary on the success of David and everything he built with the Vlog Squad took a very dark turn when the Insider article broke about the situation with Dom, then followed by the details of Jeff's accident coming to light. It's safe to say David was not the most beloved creator on the platform during this time, so he decided to just walk away. He walked away from his channel, he walked away from his podcast that he did with Jason Nash, and he left his friends who depended on the clout from his vlogs to pretty much fend for themselves. David ended up taking a deal from Snapchat and quickly made that his main platform. He was making a ton of money on there, and the best part was, there was no comment section. He was able to live with his head in the sand and pretend like he didn't nearly kill one of his best friends and cause him lifelong injuries. David was pretty much going on like nothing ever happened. He was traveling the world with his friends, and he was using all the money he was making to fund his lawyers to keep pushing off the lawsuit with Jeff. Over these past 3 years of David being offline, we've learned a lot about what kind of person he is and what kind of business he was running. We learned that Natalie forged Jeff's signature on the accident report. We learned that David banned people from continuing on a friendship with Jeff. He ended his friendship with Neistat for the documentary, even though Casey has yet to release it. There was just a lot of covering up going on, and it's been all slowly coming to light. Typically, when creators do something bad and then they disappear for a bit, it sometimes feels like people forget over time and they move on. But with this situation, more and more things have been coming out about David that aren't doing him any favors. So you can only imagine the shock when David announced on TikTok on Monday that he would be returning to YouTube. And back David came. The following day, he posted a 14-minute vlog titled Surprising Friends with Body Transformation. So David did come back to YouTube a changed person, but he just didn't make the changes that everyone was hoping he would make. He showed off his new body transformation and showed him traveling the world with his friends.
Have you ever seen an airplane scene like this? We had a full bed to ourselves. Dude, this is crazy.
And I was honestly a little bit surprised that he showed the whole traveling and having fun thing, especially when he's in the middle of a lawsuit for nearly killing Jeff. In the vlog, David had told Ilya that if he came with him for a trip, he would take the body transformation seriously, and that's what they did. I personally thought he would have avoided showing all of that, especially after Jeff called him out for traveling while he's dealing with constant surgeries. It was only last year that Jeff called Snapchat out for funding David's lifestyle, writing, "Yo, at Snapchat, you're paying a guy that smashed my skull in for a prank and left me with lifelong injuries. His name is at David Dobrik, and he's traveling the world partying on your dime, while I have another surgery next month." So definitely an interesting choice for David to come back to YouTube, showing himself having a great old time traveling and partying, knowing that Jeff, to this day, is still dealing with the aftermath of his actions, with his most recent surgery only being like less than 2 months ago. Traveling and partying wasn't the only thing David documented in his new video. 3 years back, David's main sponsor, SeatGeek, dropped him when he was in the thick of everything, but they're back working with David, doing one of his classic Tesla giveaways. This time, he gave away a Tesla to every single one of his employees at his pizza shop Dobrik's for taking care of everything while he was away traveling. He also announced that his podcast he did with Jason Nash, called Views, was set to make a return.
I let go of myself and stopped doing the things that I really enjoyed. And believe it or not, my old podcast was at the top of my list. And there was only one man who missed it more than me. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna do it again. There's no way. There's no way.
And you guys just know Jason is probably so happy about that. Views was once Jason's main source of income, and we found out that David had turned down a $10 to $20 million deal by choosing not to continue on with the podcast. Of course, that left Jason to figure something out on his own, which led to him pretty much begging for money on TikTok and becoming a huge joke.
Guys, I'm visiting Jason. I like to visit him at least once a week just to make sure that he's alive. I know that he's doing a TikTok live every day now, but I'm still not convinced it's him. It could be AI at this point. Dude, you're kind of becoming a legend on TikTok now.
I know. Not in a good way.
Yeah, but I think it's fun.
Not in a good way.
Who knows what kind of deal David landed to bring views back, but you just know Jason is probably feeling very relieved. Now, before we move on to the public's reaction to David's return, I wanted to talk about something really strange that happened around the time David posted his video. As you guys know, Casey Neistat still to this day hasn't released his documentary on David. It premiered at South by Southwest nearly 3 years ago now, and the only people who saw it were the people who bought tickets to see it on that day. It was a one-time viewing opportunity, and then Casey was hoping a network would pick it up and buy it from him, but that never seemed to happen. Even though David ended his friendship with Casey over the documentary, a lot of people still felt as though Casey was trying to protect David by not releasing it. I mean, the truth is, he could have just posted it on YouTube and got a sponsor and got millions of views, but he was choosing not to. Casey was even going on podcasts and still talking almost positively about David, and that caused some major issues between Casey and Jeff.
Part of me, as much as I'm ashamed to admit it, is because I still very deeply love and care for David, and maybe it's about protecting him from himself. But I also feel responsibility to the victim. So I'm extremely conflicted about it.
What's your relationship like with David Dobrik now?
It's non-existent.
Jeff had called Casey out, and then just a few weeks ago, Casey went on Jeff FM to try and clear the air.
I think that I'll take that criticism, and I won't fight with you about it.
I drank the juice for the first year. I kept the accent.
I push back on it,
hidden.
Jeff, because I didn't hesitate to throw away my friendship, which I did have with him, and I should have never made that friendship with him because it made me less of a good journalist. Less of an objective journalist for sure. And then I had to tear off the friend band-aid and put on the journalist hat, and that was really hard to do. And if I had just been a journalist the whole time, maybe I wouldn't have gotten the access.
Yeah.
But it would have been more honest. Instead, I was his friend, and he was mad with me because he only saw me as a friend.
Well, here's what I find strange. Right around the time David made his return to YouTube, a clip from Casey's documentary leaked onto YouTube. The account that posted it is called Dobrik Leaked, and they titled the leaked clip, David Dobrik Canceled Documentary Unreleased 2025. They also captioned the video, Clip from Under the Influence Casey Neistat 2022. Disclaimer, I hereby declare that I do not own the rights to this clip. All rights belong to the original creator and rightful owner. This content is shared for entertainment purposes only with no intention of copyright infringement. Please, Casey, release this ASAP. We need it more than ever. And I'm just confused as to who could possibly be leaking this clip. Like I said earlier, this was only shown for one day at South by Southwest. You had to pay hundreds of dollars to see it. I feel like if someone had their hands on it or somehow managed to record it, they would have released it ages ago. It's making some people wonder if this is Casey leaking it to put feelers out to see how people react. Is this Casey's way of seeing what the public's reaction is? And maybe David coming back and showing himself partying and traveling and having a great time was enough to push Casey into finally wanting to release it on YouTube. I don't know, that's just all speculation, but it's definitely strange timing. As for the reaction to David returning, of course, all the YouTube comments seem mostly positive and really happy to see him back. But then again, those are probably heavily filtered and aren't an accurate depiction of the true public opinion. Jeff did respond to David's return directly under David's video on Twitter, and he said, do hairline transformation next and get to court. Jeff did end up deleting this tweet, but I'm very interested in hearing what he has to say about this return of his. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about everything down below. Did you watch David's comeback video, or are you not giving him the views? If you did watch it, what did you think about how he decided to come back? And do you think it was a bad idea for him to return before the lawsuit comes to a conclusion? Also, let me know what you guys think about this whole leaked clip thing. Do you think it could actually be Casey leaking it and trying to see the public's reaction? Or do you think it's probably someone who just recorded it and wants Casey to finally put it out? Let me know, and I'll see you next time.